Hey, hi, and hello, welcome to the video. It's the end of the month again, and we're gonna be chatting about all the books I read in March. Um, First things first, I'm gonna tell you this is gonna be a long one, so grab a drink and grab a snack, and we're gonna chit chat about all the books I read in March. Yeah, I don't even know how many books I read. There's a couple. I know there's more than, I think there's around 20. I haven't counted them, but if you want to know, leave a comment and I will tell you, or you can count. I'm still sick at home, so I am just reading. I'm just reading books. I want to start off with the books that I don't own anymore, or I didn't own overall, because I saw some books over the past month because I read them and didn't want them in my collection anymore, or they were for our book club and I didn't buy it, or I haven't bought it yet because I can't find it anywhere, or I could sell it, or talking is hard. I could get it obviously on the internet, but I wanted to look for it in store and I haven't found it yet. So when I find it, I will obviously be getting it. But I'm gonna start off with the first book I read, which is Leave Me Behind by Kia Moronova. I rated this 3 stars. It was fine. I was hoping it would get better because I read her other duology as well. That was set, I think, a few years later after Leave Me Behind, and honestly, I sold them. I read them, and a day later I sold them on Vinted. I don't know, if that tells you not enough about how I feel about these books, I don't know what will. So that was the first book I read. And then I have the book club book, which is The Crimson Throne. And by the time this video goes live, we already have book club because we have that tonight, and I'm very excited to chit chat with the girls again. But that book was The Crimson Throne, and I rated it 4 stars. I really liked it. I read it for my reading vlog when I was reading fantasy books for a week. I will link it up here, and you can watch it after this video. But I will talk more about that book in that video because I dedicated a whole part of the video about the book. But I gave it 4 stars and I really liked it. I have my reads here with like other ratings because I will not remember every book I rated. So yeah, I think that's all of the books that I read, through Kindle or through different versions that I do not own. Yeah, I think that's it. So now I'm gonna show you what I read from my physical TBR, and believe me, there are stacks of books here. It's like super happy. This is one stack. Yeah. I had a few reading vlogs and I was mood reading a lot, so if you want to know more about the reading vlogs, they're over on my channel. You can have a look there. But the first book I have here is by reference by Rebecca Ross. I rated this, what did I rate it? Give me a second there. 3.5 stars. This book was fun. It was fun. It was a fun prequel to the Divine Rivals duology, but I like the epilogue or the ending because it's set up for Divine Rivals. But I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it. But this follows our female main character, and she is a god, and she falls in love with a human, and then, you know, there's a war going on between human and the god and the gods. I didn't remember a lot about this book, but this book I have read in the same video as Crimson Throne, so there's that. It was fun. If you want to have more information on Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, read this, but it's not necessary. But you can still read it as a fun prequel, so you know what they're talking about in the duology. Obviously I read later, so it wasn't much for me to know about, if that makes sense. yeah. Then the other book I read in that same video is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, and oh my god, I love this. I forgot her name, to be honest, but she is the female main character in this book. She's a badass. I love it, and actually I wanted to pick up the second book. I haven't yet. I think I want to read the second book in April, and maybe the third book, but they're like 700 and 800 pages long, so they'll hold it against me, but we might read it in a reading vlog. But this was a 4.5 stars. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I really, really liked it. The only thing that kept me from rating this 5 stars was the fact that it took so long. Like, the middle part was a bit too long. So I was like, we could have sped things up. So 4.5 stars. I would highly recommend. I have also her other duology, The Seven and the Wings of Night. I did read that, and the second part I still need to read. But I will hopefully soon, because her writing, I love it. Like, this book felt super fast. And it looks thick, but it was such a fun read. Honestly, I loved it. Now we're gonna take a darker route. Because I have the rest are all dark romances. If you're not interested in it, you can skip ahead, because I think the next 9 books are all dark romances. Do with that information what you will, but I was in the biggest dark romance mood this month. So we have a recent release, which is Hunt the Villain by Rina Ken. This was a 4 stars. This is the second book in her, I don't know, what is it? Villains trilogy? Like I said, it came out. I really, really liked it. It's an MM romance, so if you're into MM, don't pick up this trilogy, because they're all gonna be MMs. But I really liked it. Like, the stakes were super high, and they were like, I wouldn't say like a big mystery, but they are talking about something in this book, and you're getting flashbacks to what happened, and then at the end it's all concluded. Really liked it, and I cannot wait for the third part, but that comes out in 2027. But she is releasing a new book in June, I think, which is Tempting Venom, and that's in another trilogy, and I think that's staying a trilogy, I hope, because she can write big ass series. But if you want, pick it up. It basically follows right after Legacy of Gods, so if you like Legacy of Gods, pick it up. Then I have another Rina Ken book, which is Cruel King. This is actually the first generation. Like, Hunt the Villain is second generation, and this is first. I'm reading it crisscross. Like I said, I started with Legacy of Gods, but this is actually first series. If you want to go in chronologically order of how she wrote. But I read this, and I rated this also 4 stars. Super fast pace. I remember last Saturday I was like, oh, I want to read it. Like, I was in the mood to read this, and then the first half I read in a single evening, and a day later I read the other half, and I was like, yes, I want to pick up more of this book and the series. So I want to read the second part in April too. So very excited. And then I wrote a book that is not yet released, but it is Game On by Nafessa Allen. A friend of mine found this early in store. So this is not an ARC, this is just the published book. But he found it early in store, and I was like, I don't care what you're doing, I don't care what the price is, give it to me. And so he brought it along with me, or for me, because he was like in a big city. I was like, you have to get that. But they had more books on sale than they were supposed to be. Like, they had Love Song by Elle Kennedy also, I think 2 weeks before release day out. This was 3 weeks before release day, but I gave this 4 stars. Did I? Yes, I did. I'm also not wearing my glasses, so I'm squinting at what I wrote. But this is a 4 stars. Also liked it. Like, with almost every dark romance, the stakes are super high, and this is also Hidden Identity, and he owns a casino, whatever, or he does gambling and stuff like that, and he sets up our female main character, her brother. he sets up for like $3 million in debt. And he's like, you can pay me back. You can pay me back by dating me. So there is a fake dating, hidden identity going on. Really like it. If you have read Lights Out and Caught Up, just pick this up. I will say I hope this stays a trilogy. Like if there's gonna be a fourth book, girl, I don't know what she needs to be more talking about, but there is nothing more. You know, like but you know, do with that information what you will. Then at the beginning of the month I read The Sacrifice, and I think it was mood reading or finishing series I'm in the middle of. I don't know anymore, but also that reading vlog is also up on my channel. But I read The Sacrifice, and this is the third and final book in the Lords series. There is more in the universe, but this is the last book in that series, and I don't think I will continue on with this series because, like I said in that video, there's so much smut going on that the plot is non-existent, and that's what is bothering me. Because I want a dark romance with a plot and not a dark romance with which is purely smut. I think more people can relate, but the overarching plot was fun, but I think the books individually were not it. So 3 stars. I don't want to say more about that book, okay? I don't want to say more about that book. Then I have 4 books in a series. And the first book is The Emperor. And this is by Renix. This is the 3rd book in the Darkverse. I wasn't planning on reading these books back to back. Like, I wasn't, because I had the Annihilator on my April TBR, and then I was like, I'm gonna read it, and then I ended up also reading The Syndicator. But I will say, The Syndicator, I read it for a video, and that video is going on live the week after this, so the 10th of April, where I am finishing book series I am in the middle of or trying to be caught up. So there's gonna be sprinkles of books around here also for that video. But The Emperor, the 3rd book, 4 stars. Yes, 4 stars. This is, I think, my favorite book out of the whole series. I don't know, this starts off strong and it says on thing being strong. Yeah. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil, but you have to read the Predator and the Reaper first before going into this, because these characters are mentioned in this book too. But this follows Dante and Amara, and they're basically friends to lovers, like childhood friends to lovers, but he is in the mafia, basically said. So also high stakes. Like I said, I was in the mood to read dark romances, like The Darker the Better. I want to say, no, not The Darker the Better, but just a plot. Just a plot. I was happy. And then I read The Finisher, which is book 4 in the series. I rated this 3.5 stars. I think it was more of a filler to get more information towards the ending of the series, but it was fun. I think it's I don't know how to say this, but she has an arranged marriage with him. She's like, I know who you are, I know your secret, and in order for me to keep that secret, you're gonna marry me. So that's fun, absolutely stunning. Then we have The Annihilator. This is book 5 in the series. Like I mentioned, this was on my April TBR. It's on my March wrap up because I couldn't help myself and read this book. Yeah, this is, I don't know, this follows the Shadow Man. He's mentioned throughout all of 4 books and our female main character. And I think in this book there are lots of questions you have surrounding the books or answers. So I think that's nice and good. So yeah, like I said, you have to read these in order. There is a warning in the beginning, like if you haven't read the rest, read them first, because you have to read them. There's not like The Sacrifice that you can read them out of order. You have to read them in order from, I think, or The Finisher or The Emperor on, because otherwise you wouldn't know the storyline. And then last but not least, in this series I have The Syndicator, which is book 6 in the series. I rated this 3 stars. It was a bit of a disappointment to be fair, but I will talk about this book more in that video that's coming up next week. But yeah, that was overall. I think The Dark Verse is a crude dark romance because, like I said, with The Sacrifice, where The Sacrifice didn't have like an overarching plot. This series, there was spice, yes, but it was not like too much. It was just enough. And with the spice scenes, they were not dark as in BDSM stuff, but I think the topics in the book were dark, which makes it a dark romance and not necessarily spice. I wouldn't say it was vanilla, but you know, it was better than The Ritual and everything. So yeah. Going on to the next book, I have Releasing 10, and I read this for the same video I read The Syndicator for. But this is the last, not the last book, but this is book 6 in The Boys of Tommen. And this book broke me into a million pieces, and I'm still not okay. This is a brick of a book, and I managed to read it in 3 days. Like, Lizzie and Hug, or Hug, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but they did something to me. They broke me, and they haven't glued me together yet, but I think there is a second book coming about them. Because in the ending I said, this is not the end of Hugh and Lizzie, but it's not out yet, so we're gonna have to keep on waiting. But Lizzie, what she has, she went through so much. Like, I was crying my eyes out, mostly throughout the book. I will not lie, I was crying, bawling my eyes out. So yeah. On a different note, oh, by the way, this was a 5 stars, 5-star read. I think the only 5-star read. And of this month. Yeah. Some are close, like 4.5, but this was my only 5 stars. If you haven't read Boys of Tommen yet, do it. You have to read Boys of Tommen. That was such a strong book, and then we have a duology that, I don't know, it wasn't as strong as I was hoping for. I also read this in a video, and I think this is the same video as The Sacrifice. I don't know what's labeled for, but I will also link it or put it in like the videos up here. But this is A Study in Drowning and A Theory of Dreaming. I rated A Study in Drowning 3 stars. Yeah, 3 stars. Was fun. Set it up really quickly, and I don't know. I think this should have stayed a standalone. I said what I said. It should have stayed a standalone. So I enjoyed it, but I don't think I needed a second book about the same characters. You know, I think this concluded it all. But like I said, I also read A Theory of Dreaming. This was a letdown. I'm gonna be so honest. I was hoping for the second book to be better, but this was a 2 stars. I'm also currently selling these books, but nobody's bought them yet. So if you are interested in them, I will leave my Vinted link down below in the description. But if you're interested, you can give me you can bid on it, and I will probably accept it for like a reasonable price, because this is a deluxe edition and this is the very limited edition. Like, it is stunning, but it's not worth it, you know, to keep them. But I just don't want to think about it anymore. I'm really honest, I don't think I remember much about these books, because just like Leave Me Behind, I wasn't interested enough to remember most of the plot. I know in here she's searching for the writer or something, for something at the end happened here, and she's figuring it out for, I think, her last piece of her last paper to finish college, where they are. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you. So do with that information what you will. Then this is a book that I actually finished like maybe half an hour ago, which is The Rom-Commers by Katherine Center. I rated this 3 stars. I think it's a fluffy book. He is a screenwriter and she is a ghostwriter, and she's helping him write a screenplay. But he is not really a romance gal, and there is obviously some romance involved, and she is a wholehearted romance reader, and she's like, I believe in romance, I believe in love and everything. He's like, I don't do love, you know. He's also traumatized, so in this book you follow them, and I don't know, I think the first 25% of the book was pretty good. Like, I was flying through it, and then I was reading it for the rest of the day because I saw it yesterday evening, and I read it, you know, over the past day. It was fine. If you want a good palette, a fun palette cleanser, this is it. This is like maybe 300 pages, maybe a bit more. Yeah, this is like 317 pages, so if you want a quick read, this is fun, but you know, I wouldn't highly recommend. Yeah, I liked it. It was fun. I enjoyed my time, but wouldn't say too much about it. Then I have Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. This was a 3.5 stars. I liked it. I really liked it because I read the Off-Limits Rules by the same author, and this is like the second part to that book. So you follow a different set of characters but set in the same universe. Really liked it. She is pregnant. As you can see, he's a nurse, and he does I don't know what the English word is. I'm so sorry, but he's a gynecologist. Do I say that correctly? If I don't come for me, okay? But he's a gynecologist, and she is pregnant, so he is a nurse, and you know, works severe hours, and she is searching for a house to stay in, and his sister's like, oh yeah, we can stay with him, and they're like arch enemies, you know, like they don't like each other at all. So it's forced proximity, hate to love. You know, it was a fun book. Like I said, the same with the rom-coms. If you want something cute and nice, just a quick palette cleanser, these are your books, you know. Sarah Adams and Griffin Center, they are fun. You know, it's like no stakes, fun to read in between, you know, that kind of vibe. Then I have read Fragile Sanctuary by Catherine Cowles. This is part 1 in Sparrow Falls. I can't talk. I've been talking for way too long. I'm so sorry. But I rated this 4 stars. It's a romance, but how do I say it? There's also suspense because there's like some mystery going on, so it's not just a romance. So I think the whole series is like that, like suspense with romance. Don't hold that against me because I still have to. I ordered the second part in this book, but it's coming like next Thursday. So in a couple of days I will have the second part, and I will read it in April because I am so excited to read it after reading this book. But in this book you follow Rhodes, and I'm so bad with names. What's his name? Anson. And like I said, he hates this town. He's like, I don't want to be here, but I have to be here. He hates actually all people. And she is like, I wouldn't say like a wildflower. She isn't sunshiny, but she's like, you know, we can have fun and stuff. And he's like, no. So, you know, they're opposite of tracks. It's pretty fun to read. I highly recommend. And maybe you will see more about this series in the upcoming videos, because like I said, I do really wanna read more or continue that series. I have currently 5 more books in front of me, so if you're sick of me already, sick and tired of me, you're almost done with me. You're almost done. I have In the Dark by Chloe Walsh. That's not correctly. That's Jessie Curto. She is also the author of the DC Star series, which is an ice hockey romance. Loved it, and I cannot wait for the 6 and 7 parts to come out later this year. But In the Dark is her. It's not a spin-off. It's her standalone Halloween dark romance, and it's fun and short to read. Like, actually, I enjoyed this book. I think I gave it 4 stars too. Yes, this was a 4 stars. Is it cliche? Is it a cliche dark romance? Yes. Does it have the same cliche stuff as almost every dark romance? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Yes. I'm a sucker for good cliches, okay? So this is a fun book. You follow Max and is it? No, it's not Stacy. Stacy is the best friend. What is her name? Oh, Hunter and Max. Hunter and Max. You follow them. And Hunter works at this haunted house, and she is actually scared of all those things. She's like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. But her best friend Stacy works also at that same haunted house, so they meet, and you know, they're basically obsessed from day one, or from the first moment. So it's like I said, it's a cliche dark romance, but if you're new to dark romance, this is maybe a good way to start. Same as Game On, but I don't know what the series is called, but Game On, Guard Up, and Lights Out is a good way to start with dark romance, because it's not, I'm gonna murder everyone, you know? Although he is a serial murderer. You know, you can pay him and he will kill people for you. You haven't heard that from me, but like I said, that's the fun part, or the darker part. It's smutty, it's spicy, but sometimes we like spicy books with a plot, you know? And this was, I think, the perfect balance of smut and plot. There shouldn't be more smut, otherwise I would throw this book away. But then I have a anticipated release for me, which is Love Song by Elle Kennedy. This book I rated 4 stars. Did I? Yes, 4 stars. This is a fun standalone. If you read all the books by her, like the is it Off Campus? Yes, I think it's Off Campus, Briar U, and The Campus Diaries, you will like this too. This is also second generation, but this follows the brother from Gigi's brother, and she is from the Graham Effect. So it's all interconnected and super fun. But he is a singer-songwriter, and she doesn't know what she wants in life. So she goes to the summer house to be alone for the summer because she just broke up with a boyfriend because he cheated on her and everything. And then he is there too to write songs because he's stuck with writing music. So it's forced proximity, and I love seeing all the other people coming back as well from the other books. I will say there's character art in this book. Like, why do they look like that? Why do they look like anime characters? Like, I love me a good character art, but this is not it. But I highly recommend. Or if you're not interested in going and reading the Campus Diaries, you could read this too, and you're all caught up, you know? So, that's fun. Then I have 3 books in a series. I think if you saw my February wrap up, you know that I've been obsessed with the series. And like I mentioned, it wasn't my part, or just same with The Dark Forest, it wasn't my intention to read them back to back like I did. Because I had them actually on my summer TBR to read them in summertime, but I couldn't help myself. So I've Come On Girl by Rachel Reed. This is the 4th part in the Heated Right over the Game Changer series. And this is I don't know, 3 stars. I gave this 3 stars, it was fun. It wasn't too much, I don't know. It was fun because you saw more about the background of every character, and it adds up to the story. But I wouldn't say it's like necessary to read, but I would recommend reading them in order and how they are on Goodreads and whatever, because they are following a storyline over the years, so you can skip, but you will miss some information. But this was 3 stars. I liked this. It was enjoyable. Would I think about this book? No, I wouldn't, but I would still recommend to read throughout the series. But this follows Eric and Kyle, and like I said, if I don't care about the book, I will forget about the book. But this follows them. You know, he is an ex-hockey player and he just graduated, so there is an age gap. But it's fun. It's fun to read. I highly recommend the series overall. But then I have role model. This follows Troy and Harris, and Harris is the social media manager for the hockey team he plays in, and he has this whole discography that he is bisexual or gay. I'm not 100% sure, but there's like also they cannot say it because you know they are working on the same team and he is a player and he is obviously and what's his name again? Harris is a social media manager, so you know it's a bit forbidden, but they do end up hooking up and everything. I liked it. It was a fun read. This book was a full. No, that's a lie. I'm lying. This book was a 3.5. Like I said, I enjoyed reading this. I think this book is one of my favorites in the series, except for the books with Shane and Ilya, which is Heated Rivalry and Long Game. But I think this book was so much fun. Like, except like from the other couples we follow, this is one of my favorites. Also because we haven't seen them like in the series already, so it was fun to see them as well. So I highly recommend that. Don't skip this. Don't skip this book because it's good. And then last but not least, I have The Long Game by Rachel Reed. And this was a 4.5 stars. I also read this for the video that's coming out next week. So if you're interested, subscribe and you will get notified when it's out. But this is The Long Game. And this was Shane and Ilya again. After everything what happens in the other 3 books that comes in between their story. So this is like a couple of years later. And this is their story about handling their relationship and the struggle to come out publicly, like, and to the team, like, we are together, but you know they can't be, but they are like, but we are like enemies, you know, our team are enemies, and they on social media and everywhere it's always them two being the enemies, and secretly, you know, they're hooking up. So I highly recommend this book. I really liked it. I recommend this whole series, like the whole not Game Changers, like the whole Game Changers series. I don't have part 1 until 3, but I read like the whole series in like a span of 1.5 months in between reading other books, you know. I think if I dedicated like 2 weeks for these books, I would have finished it in like 2 weeks. But yeah, with that being said, this is the end of the video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe so we can become this big family. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.